But let's switch gears now to the issues of Nigerian election. The Electoral Act Amendment Bill has passed its second reading on the floor of the House of Representatives, and the plan is to pass the bill in good time before political events take over. Meanwhile, there have been several developments since the past governorship elections in Ondo and Edo State. INEC leadership is gearing up for some changes, and tonight we shall be talking to an insider on the Nigerian elections and the way forward. Mr. Mike Igini is a resident electoral commissioner for INEC in Akwa Ibom State, and he joins us here in the Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Igini, for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Sean.
So much to talk about.
Thank
but
you.
where do we start from?
Right.
Let me start from perhaps some personal issues. I know you went to court over that Edo matter that I mentioned,
yes.
and you were not quite happy with what you went to court. There were libel suit that you filed in court, an allegation against you. Where is that now?
Well, Sean, thank you very much for having me. With respect to that, what I simply say is that it's most unfortunate that people who have no sense of history, who indeed have no book of remembrance of where people like us we are coming from, where we are going, and what we have done before, even in that state, for one, Colonel Mose and Mayaki, to come up with just irresponsible and very reckless allegations. On the 1st of December, we're looking forward to seeing them in courts to come up with evidence of what they have done. You see, the writer, Nigerian writer lady, who said that it takes humility and courage for people to admit of the truth they know is untrue. A man cannot be in two places at the same time. And so, for these two men, they will have their day in court.
All right.
On the 1st of December.
Before I go into the next matter, we're getting some development regarding some incident, an event on the floor of the Senate today when the Adamawa lawmaker, Senator Abo, defected from the PDP to the APC. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has responded and said, we will not allow Senator Abo to run with our mandate. The party came out with a statement, and I'm going to read some parts of it. It says, the party says, is fully aware of the constitutional implication of his defection to another party, which is that he cannot continue to occupy the seat of the PDP in the Senate. The place of any senator who change parties except on the grounds provided by the Constitution is very clear, and the PDP will not allow Senator Abo to run away with our mandate. It is impossible. That is the People's Democratic Party when the senator said there is mismanagement of the party affairs in his home state of Adamawa. So let me get back to the conversation with Mr. Igini. Also, there is another court case that you are involved with. The two university professors who are now on trial over the election in Akwa Ibom State. The court issued a warrant of arrest on Professor Uduk. Why has these things gotten to that level?
Well, it's most unfortunate. But I think that the point is very clear. You just talk about PIB since 1999. This is where we are. Since 1999, we'll be talking about the Electoral Offenses Commission. This is where we are. This is because without elite consensus, society will never make progress. How far will we go in this country as a people, as a country, is dependent on the consensus of the elite. In fact, what we are having now is that there's a continual depletion of social capital. No country go and check that we ever make progress without, increase in social capital. And what is social capital? The cooperative capacity for people to work together for common good. This is our problem. And so, with respect to the two professors you mentioned, one has been arraigned in court. That is Professor Ogban. His guilt will be determined by the courts. But our complaint, our charge that will be determined by the court is clearly on the basis of the fact that in an election where a presiding officer had made a declaration. The war collection officer have already made that declaration, collated it, and handed over to a professor of a university from the ivory tower. People of presumed integrity. But what happened? A professor uttered change that outcome. Somebody has 35,000, for instance, 50,000 votes, 35,000 votes, total vote is 50,000. You have 35,000, I have 15,000. In the course of returning, reduce 50,000 from your vote, added to my own, but the total is remain 50,000. Just to show that he's smart. But regrettably, unknown to him, the tracking system we had in place, the EOSC, the Electoral Support Center.
Is it a computer?
Oh, no, we have a system across where we track everything. I don't need
materials, transportation?
Absolutely. From the central bank, I sit in my office. Every 30 minutes, they staff about 20 who are in charge. They will be printing record for me from local government to local government, word to word, pulling to you. What is going on? I see everything.
And this started from 2019 election?
Well, of course, it's been a process we're building. And this is, of course, this 2019 election, it was something that we had in all the states. Implementation may be different. But in Akwa Ibom State, it is 100% implemented. And so we're able to track that.
Let Nigerians get the clarity. Yes. So you can sit in your office as a rec and monitor the progress and the process of election.
Absolutely. From the movement of men and materials, I track you. I sit in my office. A presiding officer posted to a polling unit. All of them, I have all their telephone. And we have supervisors everywhere. And they report to the EOSC Center, the Electoral Operations Support Center. You have computers all over the place, telephone, and you print report for me every 20 minutes about trends, what is going on, where there are violence, where there's any, action that are not expected in that place. That's what we put in place. So he didn't know. We caught him. Now, good enough, his guilt will be determined in court. So he sub judice. But with respect to the one that is on the run, Professor Uduk, his whole case is terrible. Here is a professor, somebody, BSc holder, a master degree holder, a professor. You wrote in your handwriting that someone whose name he had not disclosed to the commission gave you a result to announce, to make a declaration. Every effort to have you to come and do a debriefing, you ran away. The same time, you went to court to do another affidavit, saying that, in fact, and indeed, election took place. Every effort to call you abortive. A panel was set up by the head office to go into the matter. You threatened INEC that INEC should never call you again for the briefing, that you would rather go to court. Now we are in court. He's running away. He could not be served. The university cannot reach out to him. He's out of Uyo right now. A professor will be hiding. So that was
there's a warrant of arrest.
To the court giving a warrant of arrest. So
but it's not only this professor.
Anywhere he's seen in Nigeria, he'll be arrested. The next date is on the 9th. It will be in his best interest to be in the court, to come and take his plea on the 9th of December. Otherwise, you see, a court warrant of arrest is different from the other police warrant of arrest. Because once, anytime the police you are seen anywhere, once you are arrested, you'll be taken to prison straight to the next adjourned date. That is the danger. So he has to respect himself to appear in court on the 9th.
But Mr. Igini, it is not only these two professors that they have found wanting in their role in that election. Also, some staff of INEC were found wanting.
Absolutely.
And we understand that you have...
Oh, they've been dismissed. They've been dismissed. A panel
How many of them?
3 of them have been dismissed. And the about that for senior, while looking at the case, we are looking at the degree of their action and how impactful it would have been. Probably you take other measures and all that. But the point is this.
The question, sorry, apologies. Yeah. So when you dismiss this bill, that means the commission have found them wanting.
Yeah, sure.
And that's an electoral offense, isn't it? Would you prosecute that?
Offenses are in categories. There are actions that are pre-election matters that have to do with perhaps registration. And these categories of staff, their own action have to do with registration. Because this country were part of having a biometric register for this country, the most robust data of Nigerians of voting age, for any staff of ours to try to mess that process up, that staff will have to be dealt with. So the degree of offense is different from that of a professor. Those of them who were now trying to change the will of the people, contrary to what had been expressed at the polling unit, at the work collection center, as collated, then you utter that. That is a very serious.
So those ones that done by your staff are just misdemeanor in the eyes of the law.
Yes, of course they have to do with administrative actions that would have impacted negatively
on the election.
In the elections.
Well, I mean, from Mr. Igini, from Edo to Ondo,
yes,
a lot of people applauded INEC to say, look, in fact, the creation and the introduction of the portal gave some kind of a breath of fresh air, that people could monitor the election. So one would think that things are getting better. Are things getting better, really?
Absolutely. I can tell you, I can confirm to you here that INEC has made tremendous progress. The problem we have today is no longer INEC of before, because it's 2011. The kind of election that we have conducted have a remarkable departure from where we used to be before, even though we are still not where we are looking at. But in order to safeguard the integrity of the process, which is more important, because the process is what we are interested in. The outcome should be determined by the electorate. In fact, the expression is that our job is to ensure sanctity of procedure in order to safeguard substantive or sanctity of outcome, only to be determined by the people. Now, the INEC public viewing portal is a new innovation to deal with the recurring issue of vote changes at the level of collation. And that's why that was introduced, to ensure that at the polling unit, once the result is declared, is published, of course, it should be sent to the viewing portal so that Nigerians can see it. Because the way we are going, I'm very sure not too far from now, Channels Television, all other stations, for now, it's INEC that we have to make declaration. You could do what the CNN and other television stations do in America by making projections. You all know that in the Edo you referred to and the Ondo State, even before INEC made that declaration, there was no tension in the country, particularly in those areas, because people already had access. They could see the result. That's where we are going. But the problem we are having shown, which is a major problem for our country, is that the elite, the political elite of our country, they are the greatest threat to our democracy. The political, they are in disarray. They are the ones attacking both the hardware and the software of INEC in order to bring about credible election in our country. Look at what happened in Akwa Ibom in 2019. Look at all the properties that were destroyed. And I'm sure you have some.
I guess my producer will give us that pictures of some of the burnt.
15 vehicles were, 11 vehicles were set ablaze. 15 vandalized.
Okay, so that's your office there?
Yes.
That were burned?
Burnt?
Inside the premises of the...
All right, INEC office all burnt. You could see.
The generators.
All right, generators, 22 generators were all burnt. Carried out 160 burnt. These are money that we spend, the public money, to procure this. And it's a setback to us. In fact, the building that was bombed was one of the newest buildings we have just put together. That is the kind of thing you see. Now, tragically, and those vehicles you are seeing, these were service providers. These were means of livelihood of members of families. Some of who even came to say, look, a particular vehicle that was burned, that they lost their father, they sold their land to purchase this vehicle to take care of their family. In that election, the Nigerian elite, who are now using violence, deployment of violence to win election, look at what they did. And we are now appealing to people to see what we could do to assist these people who have been affected by this development.
What's causing this desperation? Because it smells, I mean, one can perceive, I mean, why would anybody go to that length to destroying properties of a public institution like INEC?
You see, what we have seen is that politics now is the biggest business in Nigeria. everybody wants to go into politics because incentives are so high. All right? And because they have failed, political parties have failed to mobilize people around issues that matter to their material condition. And the fact that what you take home as a public officer, as a politician, is so high. And people are now desperate. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be about service. Why do you kill people in order to serve them?
Invariably, you're saying that political offices are too juicy.
Absolutely.
Are too
in fact, people now go to banks to take loans, to go into politics. People are closing their businesses to go into politics. Why? And so
that's perhaps
really,
one of the reasons for the desperation.
A threat for our democracy. The elites, they are the greatest threat today. And we have to do something about it. Particularly the fact that, as it is today, for you to conduct the election, we are now having to have security all over the place. In neighboring state, Ghana here, a presiding officer will go home with the ballot paper and result sheet. On the second day, he comes to the polling unit. But in Nigeria, we have to have ballot papers to be kept in the air-conditioned room in Central Bank of Nigeria. In fact, they join the same comfort with our Naira, in Central Bank. And we have policemen all over the place. We have to stop that. And because people want to rig election.
Mr. Igini, would electronic voting at least resolve a percentage of some of these problems?
You see, we have to... I heard people talking about electronic voting. In the United States of America, we have multi-system there. The 50 states, they have different systems. The issue of electronic voting is still an issue. What you have in America are voting machines. A voting machine is a standalone machine without connected to any internet. You put in your ballot paper, you will see a screen showing the number of ballots that have gone in and sent equal to count. That is what you have there. So when you talk about voting machine, Nigeria, look at our level of infrastructure. Ordinary car reader that we're talking about. What is going on? People don't want to even have anything to do with car reader. Look at how they are attacking the car reader. Today, look at local government system in Nigeria. We have lost 774 local government in Nigeria to every sitting governor of the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Local government elections are nothing but organized crime. So they should not be calling them election at all. Because what constitutes free, fair, and credible election with respect to INEC conducted election is different from local government.
Looks like a winner-take-all situation.
That is what is going on. Can you compare that to what is going on in the U.S.? Regardless of the political party in charge of any state in the United States of America, as you can see going on right now in America, the party will record the votes of American people as expressed through the ballot.
So we are not ready for electronic voting.
Let me tell you, it has to be gradual. From what we are doing now, let us consolidate even what we are doing right now. I'm saying car reader. Why are people afraid of car reader? All the local government elections, well, don't call them election. These are mere organized crime. They are nothing but, coronation ceremony that you have across the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But Nigerians are not doing anything about it, that you have lost your local government, that there's no democracy taking place there. Do you know that we may not even need to deregister political parties? If you allow true election to take place in the local government system, all these other political parties, they will win 1, 2, or 3 local government. Once they win a local government or 2, a political party, any of these new political parties, you know what will happen? That will be the end of the control of local government fund through the joint state account, the JAC account, because party A, B, and C will not allow the money of its own local government to be hijacked by any sitting government of a controlling party. And it will run that local government differently. With that, political party will be able to build up and before you now graduate by way of threshold to INEC conducted election. Because the people who are graduating now to INEC conducted election, they don't have no democratic values.
Mr. Igini, let me get your views quickly because I still have loads and loads of issues to take up with you. Is regarding the issue of the amendment to the electoral law in Nigeria. How critical would that be for the next election, major election in Nigeria? That's going to be 2023.
Well, fundamentally, for us on the part of INEC, I think the only thing that we consider very serious, that this amendment that we're looking forward to be very helpful, is the issue about the car reader. But even without that before, we are very comfortable with Section 160 of the Constitution. It's something that should happen, particularly as regards to political party primaries and convention. You see, one of the first duty of political party is to present candidate for election. But you could see in Nigeria, party primary is a problem in Nigeria. And that is why the proposal we have seen in the ongoing amendment, and we urge the National Assembly that they should take this historic step and be able to deliver this time around to ensure that what we have seen that they have proposed, if carried out, will be a watershed, because political party primary is a problem in Nigeria. And as you know very well, what is the reason why we don't want the election, that we are very, very serious when it comes to the issue about interfering with the vote of the people, is the fact that Joseph Scopita made the point that in any democracy, the choice of who becomes a candidate are first and foremost made by the elite, those who have influence and power. In the final analysis, those that we call out the people to come and vote for are already choices already made by the elite. And so, even when you have made a choice of people that ordinarily, if subjected to the general people of your party, they may not be candidates and all that, it will also be very wrong to think that having brought an unpopular candidate and in an election, you must run through INEC process to become, to get what you want. And that is why we frown at election rigging, because democracy, election, is the bedrock of democracy. If vote do not count, people will lose faith in democracy. Right. And that is why we take that issue very seriously. And we are doing everything we should do, to ensure that we bring, confidence in the electoral process by ensuring that those who try to mess up with the process must be dealt with. And what we have done in what you're talking about in Akwa Ibom, it's not new. In Cross River, similar situation happened. People tried to mess up the process. A commission proceeded against them, and they were sent to jail.
Mr. Igini, there is a very critical thing here, and it's the fact that Nigeria, in our democratic process, we like to mirror their American federal system and their democratic practice. What lesson do you think we can take from the American election? After a week, they were still, almost a week, they're still unable to know the winner of that election.
Yes. You see, democracy, you cannot talk about democracy without having Democrats. You cannot go to the ceremony of exchanging your garment without wearing a garment. Democracy is not about sound bites. Democracy is about values. It's about principle. It's about attitude. It's about practices that are themselves not a final product that you just oppose or you graft into a society. They are nourished, enriched, and they grow with the growth of society. So, in Nigeria, you ask the kind of people that you have coming into politics. Because the leadership recruitment process is very important. If you want to look at how well a company is doing well, you check the recruitment policy. And so when you look at America, everything we've been talking about America before, here we are having Donald Trump, who does not play by the rule. But what is saving America today is the institutional resilience. Because institutions are the only thing that can safeguard the destiny of any nation. And so, institutional building is key. So for INEC, we have a message, to the fact that we must continue to do what we are doing to ensure that the process, remains what it should be to deliver free, fair, and credible election. For the media, in terms of what do we need to learn from that? If you look at what is happening in America today, the media has a role in defending the process. All the allegations that have been thrown up by Trump and his supporters, what happens? The media will do its own report, independent report, to say there is no evidence of what we are talking about. Judiciary. Look at what is happening in America. Every issue taken to the court, they were dealt to it within hours. Within hours. That is how it is done. Now, the security personnel in America, have you seen where the policemen are in one way or the other involved in what is going on? Not at all. You don't see that happening. But you could see America defending their system. Even in Kenya here, somebody committed an offense in 2030. We were there. On the 4th, when the election took place of March, on the 5th, it was arraigned in court, and it was jailed for 3 years. Immediately, it was done with. Look at the issue about election petition. Right here in Nigeria, we spend so much time, what are 80 days, 60 days at the Court of Appeal, 60 at the level of the Court of the Supreme Court. Why so? Why can't we have sanctity of time? Like in America now, by 20th, no matter what anybody is doing, by 20th there will be handover. But in Nigeria, what do? We will have to wait until after somebody has been sworn in and order. So we should revert back to 1978 as well as also as 1983, where election petition matters are resolved before people are sworn in to avoid using public money to be pursuing election petition. That is the way we must go in our country. As well, maybe when in due course, we have to look at how really whether the onus of proof as to when election is conducted, where should it go and all of that.
Mr. Mike Igini, always a pleasure having you to talk about. Every time you are on the show, it's always bringing out some of these critical issues. But we're glad that you are here tonight again. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike Igini, the wreck of the Akwa Ibom, INEC wreck in Akwa Ibom. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.